Hello students. So let's continue with the problems on this proportion. So here I have taken the next problem on this proportion, that is problem number it is 11. So I'll read out the problem. So here there is a contractor, right? So contractor was allowed 16 days to finish a small contract. So for that he has put 30 men, right, on the work, and at the end of 12 days he found 5/7 of the work was completed. So question is, how many extra men must he now use to finish the work in time? Means to complete the work in time. So how many extra men he has to employ? Those extra number of men we have to calculate. So if you see here, so there is a contractor and he has been given how many days? 16 days. Within 16 days he has to complete that contract or the work. And to complete that work in 16 days, so how many men he has used or how many men he has put? So he has employed 30 men, right, to complete that work in 16 days. And at the end of, right, at the end of how many days? 12 days, right? With 16, in 16 days he has to complete that contract, and to complete that contract he has employed 30 men. And out of 16 days, he has worked for how many days? For first 12 days. For first 12 days he has worked with how many men? With these 30 men. And with 30 men, right, with these 30 men for 12 days, how much work he has completed here? 5/7. 5/7 work is completed, right? Means still he has not completed the full work, right? Only has completed only 5/7 of the work with 30 men in how many days? 12 days. So still how many days are remaining now? Totally 16 days are given. Out of that 16 days already has worked for these 12 days. Still 4 days are remaining, right? Only 4 days are remaining. And in these remaining 4 days he has to complete that remaining work. Now what is the work left now? So totally he has completed how much? 5/7 work in how many days? 12 days. Means how much work is remaining now? Means only 2/7 work is remaining, because out of 7 times 5 times work already has completed. Means out of 7 times how much? 2 times work is still to be completed. Still you have to complete. So for that, how many men are working, that I want. So to complete this balance work in these remaining days, now how he has employed some more men, but how many he has employed it is not known. He might have employed 3 more men, 5 more men, 10 more men. So exactly it is not known. So whatever extra persons he has employed, those extra persons will work with these 30 men. So already 30 men are there. With these 30 men, again he has put some more men, right? So all those men will work to complete this balance work in how many days? In these balance days. So how many extra men he has employed, right, to complete this remaining work? So that I have to calculate, or that they have asked here, right? How many extra men must he now use to finish the work in time? How many extra men he has to employ? Clear? So here what you have to do? Here you have to find out the balance days as well as the balance work. Balance days we can calculate very easily from total days. You minus the days which has already worked, right, to complete so much of the work. So you get the balance days. And how to calculate this remaining work? To calculate this remaining work, what you have to do directly, you cannot write like this. So you have to show the how you have got this balance work and the balance days. So for that, what you have to do? Here you have to assume the total work as what it is 1, because numerically when we say numerically usually we say this is a work, this is one work, right? What will be the work? So numerically we say this is a one work, right? So total work I will assume as what it is 1, right? So total work, what will be that work? That total work I am assuming as it is 1. So from this total 1 work, you minus the work done. What is the work done here? 5/7. So from total 1 work, if you minus 5/7, so you get the balance work. So for that, what you have to do? You have to calculate the LCM and you have to minus, right? So to calculate, you calculate the LCM. Take LCM as 7 here. How it comes? So 1 means what it is? 1 divided by 1. So 7 into 1 is 7, and do the cross multiplication. Multiply here by it is 7 and here by it is what it is 1. and multiply. 7 into 1 is 7, minus 5 into 1 it is 5. 7 minus 5 is how much? It is 2 by 7. This is how it comes 2 by 7. So this you have to show that how we have got 2 7. For that, total work is always assumed to be how much it is 1 remember. Yeah. So after calculating this, then you have to put the equation and then you have to simplify and you have to calculate the extra math. Yeah. So I hope this is clear to you all. So let's start with the solution. So first we will calculate the balance work. So to calculate the balance work, you assume the total work, right? Let the total work be 1. Now first you calculate the balance work. Balance work. To calculate the balance work from this total 1 work, you minus the work done. Work done is how much it is? 5 7. So as I shown like that, you have to minus this by calculating the LCM. So take LCM as 7 here. Do the cross multiplication. Multiply here by it is 7 and here by it is what? 1. And multiply 7 into 1 is 7 minus 5 into 1 it is 5. Or 7 minus 5 is how much it is? 2 by 7. So 2 7 work is remaining. And to complete this remaining work, how many days are remaining? That also you have to calculate. So you have to calculate the balance days. So to calculate the balance days, what you have to do from the total days, how many days have been allowed to do that work? 16 days. So out of 16 days, already has worked for how many days? 12 days. We minus that. Means how many days are remaining here? Only 4 days are remaining. So in these remaining 4 days, he has to complete this remaining work with how many men? 30 men plus those extra, right? So first you have to calculate the balance work and the balance days like this, and now you have to put the equation. So let's put the equation. So how equation you have to put here? It is for, right? For how many days? For this 12 days. For 12 days to do, right? In 12 days, how much work he has done? 5/7 work he has done, right? So for these 12 days to do 5/7 work, how many men are required? 30 men. 30 men are required. Yeah. So now we have to ask for, it is how many days are remaining? 4 days. For 4 days to do how much? This balance work. 2/7 of the work. How many men are required? That we have to calculate. So like this you have to put the equation. And then one by one you have to compare the number of days and the work with the number of men and see whether they are in direct or inverse. So let's compare and see whether they are in direct or inverse. So first you compare the number of days with the number of men. So here how many men are required, it is not known. So let's assume it is X men be required. X means what? These 30 plus those extra together I am assuming as what it is X. So compare the days. So for 12 days, if you want to do a work in 12 days, how many men are required? 30 men are required. So if you want to complete that work in 4 days, right? How many men are required? More or less? That you have to see. So if you want to complete that work in 4 days, so definitely more men are required, right? So here, if you want to complete the work in less number of days, more men are required. And if you want to complete the work in less number of days, right? In more number of days. If you want to complete the work in more number of days, definitely less persons are required. So here number of days have decreased from 12 to 4. So if you want to complete that work in less number of days, definitely more men are required. So as the number of days decreases, right? As the number of days decreases, the number of men required to do the work increases. So here number of days have decreased from 12 to 4, and due to that number of men required are increasing. So one is decreasing, another one is increasing. So number of days are said to be in the inverse proportion. So here you have to put number 1 and you have to write the number of days. Here the number of days is in inverse proportion. Then you have to see the work now. So to do 5/7 work, how many men are required? 30 men are required. So to do 2/7 work, how many men are required? More or less? So to do this 2/7 work, definitely less men are required, because this work is less than this work. 5/7 work is more and 2/7 work is less, right? So to do less work, less men are required, and to do more work, more men are required. So as the work decreases, number of men required to do the work also decreases. So here both are decreasing. So when both are decreasing or when both are increasing, it is said to be what? It is direct proportion. So here the work is said to be in a direct proportion. So here you put number 2 and write the work is in direct proportion. Yeah. And now accordingly you have to put the proportion. So how you have to put the proportion? So here the number of days, they are in inverse. So how you have to write the ratio of its days? 4:12. So it is written as 4:12. Then work is in direct, so it is written as 5/7:27. 5/7:27. And these two ratios you have to write equal to the last ratio as what it is, 30:what it is. So this is how we have to put the proportion. And now to estimate the value of this x, right? What you have to do? You have to use the rule of proportion. What the rule says? In proportion, the product of extremes is equal to the product of means. So your extremes are these last two terms, and middle two terms are called as your means, right? So multiply. So separate. So my extremes are, it is what? 4 into what it is? 5/7, right? 4 into 5/7 into what it is? X equal to means are 12 into it is 2/7 into what it is? 30. Yeah, like this. And now what I want here? I want the x value. So for that, what you do? You bring this x outside. Which transfer these two values equal to that side. So these two multiplication becomes division. So I'll continue here. So I'll take this x outside here. So this x is equal to, so x is equal to, this remains as it is. How much it is? It is 12, right? 12 into what it is? 2/7, right? Into what it is? 30, right? This remains as it is. And now you transfer these two values to that side. So if you transfer 4 equal to that side, this multiplication becomes division. Division means what it is? Multiply what is 1 divided by 4. Yes. Into 5/7 you transfer to this side, so this becomes reverse. 5/7 becomes 7/5. So it is 7 divided by what it is? 5. Like this. Or it is x is equal to, right? X is equal to, now simplify this, right? So this 7 gets cancelled. So 5 ones are 5, 6 it is 30, then 4 ones are 4, 3 it is 12, right? So division is over. So multiply 3 into 2, 6, 6 into 6 it is 36. So how many men are required here? 36 men are required. So if you want to complete that work in 4 days, right? So to do this balanced work, how many men are required now? 36 men are required. Means previously, how many men were there? 30 men, right? And now how many men are working? 36 men are working. That means what? To complete this balanced remaining work in these remaining days, so he has to employ how many? 6 more men. 36 minus what it is? 30. So to complete that work in time, right? So he has to employ 6 more men. That should be your answer. So here you have right. Therefore, he has to employ. Therefore, he has to employ 6 more men. Therefore, he has to employ 6 more men to complete the work in time. So how 6 it is? Mention that into bracket. Means from this 36 men, you have to minus 30 men. Originally how many men were there? 30. So minus 30 from 36. So you will come to know how many extra men he has employed to complete that balance work. Clear? So I hope this is clear to you all. Or we'll continue with the next problem, right? So here I have taken the next problem on reduced proportion. That is problem number 12 it is. So I'll read out the problem again. A gang of laborers promised to do a piece of work in how many days? 10 days. But 5 of them remain absent. Question is, if the rest of the gang do the work in 12 days, find the original number of men agreed to work. Means originally how many laborers, how many workers have agreed to do that work. Those original number of men we have to calculate. So originally how many workers had promised to do that work, it is not given in this problem, right? But what is here? They said a gang of laborers. A gang means what? A group of workers, right? A group of laborers have promised to do a piece of work in how many days? 10 days, right? So originally how many laborers, how many workers were there, it is not known. So let's assume it is how many X laborers. Suppose there were X workers who had promised to do that work in how many days? In 10 days. I am going to assume the number of men or number of laborers or the number of workers. Anyway you can assume. So let the number of men be X. So suppose X workers had promised to do that work in how many days? 10 days. But what has happened? Out of X men, 5 of them, right? 5 of them have remained what it is absent. Means 5 workers out of these total workers, 5 workers did not come on the work at all, right? Means how many workers have worked here? It is X minus 5. Total workers are X, and from total number of X, the total number of workers X, you minus the number of workers who did not come on the work. So 5 workers remain absent, minus that. Means how many workers have worked? X minus 5. And these X minus 5 workers, right? The rest of the gang, these remaining workers have done the work in how many days? In 12 days. Yeah. So if all X workers works together, so then they can complete their work in how many days? 10 days. But all workers have not worked here. 5 workers have worked less. Means these workers have completed that work in how many days? 12 days. So we have to calculate, find, right? Find the original number of men agreed to work. Original means this X value you have to calculate. Understood? So here what you have to do? Here the original number of laborers or the workers are not known. So that I will assume as what it is X. Yeah. So let's proceed with the solution. So first you assume the number of workers or the laborers. Let the original number, let the original number of workers be what it is X. Suppose X workers are there. Means if all X workers works together, so they will complete their work in how many days? 10 days. But 5 of them have remained absent. Means how many workers have worked, that you have to calculate. Means you have to find out the balance workers, remaining workers, balance workers, remaining workers. Anyhow you can write here. So from total number of workers X, you minus the workers who have remained absent. How many it is? 5. So only X minus 5 workers have worked, and these X minus 5 workers have completed their work in how many days? 12 days. Yeah. So here this problem involves only 2 ratios, workers as well as the what it is days, right? So it is a simple problem, right? So as it is, you have to put the equation. So number of workers we have to calculate. So the number of workers we have to write at the end, and number of days we have to write at the start. So how equation you have to do, or how equation you have to put? for how many? For 10 days. For 10 days to do a work. For 10 days to do a work, how many workers are required? X workers. X workers are required. So for it is how many days? 12 days. If you want to do that work for 12 days, so for 12 days to do a work, how many workers are required? That is also known now here. It is how much? It is X minus 5 workers are required. So this is also known here. And now what you have to do? As it is, you see these number of days are in direct or inverse. So compare this and find whether number of days are in direct or inverse. So compare. So for 10 days, if you want to do a work in 10 days, X workers are required. So if you want to do that work in 12 days, instead of in 10 days, if you want to do that work in 12 days, means in more number of days if you want to do. So how many workers you have to employ? More or less? So definitely less workers are required. If you want to do that work in more number of days, so no need to employ more workers. We have to employ less workers. If you employ more workers, so that work will be completed in less than 12 days. So if you want to do a work in more number of days, less workers are required. And if you want to do the work in less number of days, more workers are required. So as the number of days decreases, right, number of workers required, as the number of days increases, the number of workers required to do the work decreases. And as the number of days, right, as the number of days decreases, number of workers required to do the work increases. So here number of days have increased or decreased? Number of days have increased from 10 to 12, and due to increasing number of days, number of workers required are decreasing. So what is increasing? Another one is decreasing. So when one is decreasing, another one is increasing. So it is said to be what it is? Inverse proportion. Means here the number of days are in what? Inverse proportion. So here you have write. Here the number of days is in inverse proportion, and accordingly you put the proportion. So number of days are in what? Inverse. So how you have write the ratio? 12 is to 10. 12 is to 10 as equal to the last ratio, and last ratio is always written in direct proportion. It is written as x is to x minus what it is 5. Yeah, and to find out the missing value, right? So you have to use the rule of proportion. What the rule says? In proportion, the product of extremes is equal to the product of means. So multiply extremes on one side and means on another side. So my extremes are 12 and x minus 5. So this 12 is multiplied by what it is? X minus 5 equal to my means are is 10 into x. 10 into x. And simplify this. So first you open the bracket, and to open the bracket you have to multiply by 12 to both the values. So multiply 12 into x, you will get 12x minus 12 into 5 is how much? 16 equal to 10 into x is how much it is? 10x. Now from 12x we cannot minus 16, right? But 12x and 10x we can solve, and to solve you have to transfer this 10x equal to this side and transfer this 60 equal to that side. So means what? Bring all x on one side and values on another side. So it is 12x, you keep here only, bring this to this side. So this plus 10x becomes what it is? Minus 10x. This is equals to transfer minus 60 equal to that side, it becomes plus 60. Yeah, or from 12x you minus 10x, so remains what? It is 2x. So 2x is equal to what? It is 60. Or I want x value, now straight away you bring x outside. So x is equal to, it is 60, transfer 2 to that side, multiplication becomes division. So it is x is equal to, right? X is equal to, divide this, 60 divided by 2 is how much it is? 30. Like this. Means originally how many laborers had promised to do that work? It is 30. Yeah. So then below that you have right. Therefore, very right. Therefore, the original number of laborers promised to do a work is how much it is? 30. Clear? So I hope these problems are clear to you all. So in the next video, so I'll come with the next problem on this proportion. Thank you.